Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is longtime favorite, Lynn Berger. Hey, Lynn.
Hi, Laurie.
We tallied this up and decided we can't figure out when, but we know she's been on here at least 3 times, and we decided we always have a good time and get a lot of information. So thank you for coming back again.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You are welcome. Lynn is a career counselor and coach, and but that, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But what we decided, based on the season, is that we wanted to sort of talk about spring cleaning, your life and your job and your career, and just sort of getting out what's not needed and putting in what you might want to add. Is that a
perfect?
Good. So where should we start on this? Is there anything you want us to know? Is this something you do a lot?
Well, I think in essence, we're all trying to clean out and replace with the new and get rid of the gaps in our lives and try to fill them in with more satisfying work, activities, etc.
What is that lady's name, the magic art of tidying up? Marie Kondo, is that her name? The big hit?
Yes,
that everybody's like, if it doesn't spark joy, get rid of it. It's like, okay. I have a long way to go on that. But anyway, I'm working on it. So, you're right. We're all trying. So you've got a couple of areas. Do you want to tell us what areas that you deal with? Because you're talking about like a healthy balance. Is that what you're talking about?
Sure. I mean, I think you start where the pain point is, so where you're not as satisfied.
Very
so
smart,
for everyone, let's whether it's your work, whether it's your personal relationships, whether it's your own well-being and taking care of yourself, or perhaps you just haven't been having a lot of fun lately, or your relationships, you don't feel you have as many people, supportive people in your life. So whatever it is that feels a little, I don't want to say empty, but a little low.
Yeah, I like that. Start where your pain point is. One of my favorite sayings, and I don't know who said it, but I love it. It's like all action stems from negativity, which to me makes so much sense, because if you're walking down Paradise Road, why would you change? It's like, let me stay here forever. But if you feel that little nudge, or if you're really in severe pain, like you go, and things are just not working, that's where you want to start.
Well, I think the goal is also not to get to that pain point.
True, prevention. Not a bad idea.
So in careers, like if you're feeling that slump, Monday might feel, if your work week is a traditional Monday to Friday, maybe that Sunday night just is a little bit challenging. Or if you say to yourself, I can't do this anymore, or you're feeling during the day, start where you are, but let's get it at the slump place or the
as
place.
As opposed to the deep hill and the deep
so you have
depression.
to pay attention to that.
That's pretty good advice. If you're in, if you're in the valley right now, way down low, then yes, definitely take a move. But try to prevent that. That's what we're really doing here, right? It's like, what can we do to make sure we don't go down in that little deep valley and have to climb back up? So is it? To me, it would make sense that you would start with the individual person and then branch on out to the areas. But what are you thinking? Because you're the expert.
Well, thank you.
I don't know.
Well, I think you have to look at your life from a career and life planning perspective, looking at the whole thing. And, there's, as I said before, different areas: your health, well-being, your relationship, your family, your supportive friends, colleagues, etc., your work, things you do for fun.
You don't have to change those. No, you might increase them.
Things that, like, if you feel a bit stuck and you want to work on learning or some sort of personal development. I mean, it's not just going to happen. You kind of have to get to a place of understanding what you need and then finding ways to get it.
It's interesting because I recently did a show with my personal physical therapist, and he, I think I'm there because I'm in pain, but I'm thinking that's why people go, and he goes, actually, we're trying to transition over to building you strong and healthy, and what do you need to prevent this whole situation?
Right.
So that, where you say health, I mean, you're not going to do your own surgery on yourself, but it's like, what can you do to get there? What can you do to make sure that you don't need the surgery? Or is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, I think it's getting also to that place of, like you said, maintenance, but sometimes you have to start from the beginning. So
Yes.
if you did physical therapy, you have to go there from a pain point or something, and then develop, get stronger, and strength builds on strength.
Yeah.
So you get that, you don't let it go,
point.
right?
Yeah, that was the pain point. But what he's saying is he would like to see physical therapy and any form of exercise be on the road, not so you're pulling yourself up to get to normal, but on the road to even more optimum. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about with the spring cleaning, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but you got to get to that place of being able to maintain it and not let it go.
I'm working on it.
And not
I'm working
let
on
it go.
Yeah. So would that be a recommendation of yours? Like start at the beginning? I mean, that sounds so logical.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you have to start at the beginning and build up some sort of routine so that all these things become somewhat routine.
Yeah, and a habit, building habits, good habits. Yeah.
Which can be challenging.
It can. Do you have any secrets for building habits? What did they say? If you do it
21 days.
There you go. Yeah, 21 days. I knew you were going to say 28. I'll give you a break. 21 days, and then it becomes a habit. But so, how do you section out? How do you do a self-assessment? What's the best way to do that?
Well, I think you want to break things up. If you work and you have a career and or are looking to build a career, I mean, that's a big piece for many people. That's the chunk of time. So, to understand what's working for you at this point and what's not. And, generally you want to look at your work from a few perspectives. One is, do you have some interest in this? I mean, that's a question to ask yourself.
Do you know what you're doing?
And if you don't, then maybe it's time to revisit. Is it in line with the skill that you have that you really like to use? Sometimes we become a little bit robotic and not do things that necessarily we're good at and like to do. So you want to visit that. And you want to feel proud and good about what you're doing and that it's in line with your energy. And
it's interesting. I think they did some kind of survey, and it's like the people who quit, 80% of them don't quit because they need more money. They quit because they're not being appreciated, or they're not being recognized, or they feel like they're not using their talents. I mean, it's more about self-gratification really than money and prestige.
Well, I think once you get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you're in survival mode, absolutely, you need the money, but hopefully at that point,
yes.
It's like
once you get to that point, I mean, it's your day, it's your life, and you need to look at it from a point of view of getting something back.
Right. When do you, and I know this is individual for everybody, but since you're the career expert, when is that line, when do you cross that line when it's like, okay, I've got my career established and everything's going the way it should be, and but I feel that little nudge in there that it should be more, or I should be doing more, or I'm not really fulfilling. When do you listen to that? When do you know? I know
That's
it's
a great
individual.
question. That's a great question. I mean, when you keep hearing the voice.
when it keeps starting to yell in your ear, it's like, okay, now listen.
Yeah, pay attention.
Yeah. So in what you do you help people assess? It's like whether it's even feasible or possible for them to move on out and fulfill their dreams?
Of course.
Yeah,
is
that what you're doing?
You have to look at it from two perspectives. One is the practical. Is this a practical idea? We kind of have to look at that.
Yeah.
And then, psychological. Is this the right thing for you at this point?
Yeah.
And is it, worth taking the effort and taking on that challenge?
And I think one of them, I don't want to say saddest, but one of the ones that makes me think is like when I see people who live for the weekend, it's like, oh, if I can just get to Friday and then it's all right, I'll be okay. And people who really hate their jobs, because we spend so much time in our jobs. And it's like, and I think that's so sad. So what tips can you give to add stuff to it, to throw out Well, let's start spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning. Well, unfortunately, most people feel overburdened, overwhelmed, and you have to understand what you have control of to make it feel a little less heavy. And then once you get to that point, then you need to understand what is it that you're looking for at certain points. Like sometimes you want to learn something, like learning a new skill.
Yes.
As we were setting up today, we were watching.
All the stuff we couldn't do.
And it was like, wow, that could be kind of cool to learn how to do.
That.
Yes. So is it, what is it? Certain points in certain people's lives, there's different things that you're looking for. And, many times people, after they've been doing work for a while and they feel that they need to have some more meaning attached to it, might seek out volunteer or doing something. At different, we're always growing. And as we grow, different needs come up.
And the way we grow is by doing different things.
Yes.
It's like getting different experiences. That's interesting. Because I often, well, let me ask you one thing first before we do that. I often know what I was going to say. I often feel that people just don't know what they want. And is that where you come in? Because you've been coaching longer than me, but I find when I ask them, well, what do you want? And then you get the deer in the headlights. It's like, I don't know. I never thought about it, right?
Right. I mean, you really can't get anywhere if you don't know what you want.
Exactly.
So we have to kind of start.
Step number one.
And people do. My experience is they're either frightened to say it or feel like, oh, that's not possible. That's, putting too much out there.
Yeah, beyond me.
But when you ask good questions and little by little, it percolates.
Right, and I did, I still do, but I did a lot of retirement coaching, and it's like that's just where they feel like the rug has been pulled out of it. I don't know how to identify myself. So I say, okay, now you are suddenly, remember that boss you hated? You're your boss now, so enjoy it. You can do what you want to do, but also it's revert back to what did you want to do as a child? What really made your heart sing? And maybe you can't do it now. Maybe you won't be able to be a bobsledder at age 75. I don't know, but what can you do that you can hang out around there and build sleds? I don't know. Do you get that crazy? I get that crazy.
Well, you can go through different stages of people's lives, and they tend to forget.
Yes,
I mean, people forget.
Yeah. Or they say, it's not possible, so I'll just forget. I'll put it over here and not think about it. But
I find a lot of times if I'm having a conversation with someone, they say, oh, yeah, I thought of that before, but they never were in a place to take action.
Yeah.
And, I'm here the third time.
Exactly. And she's got plenty of clients, so something's not working.
I wanted to, like you said, do you want to come on? I said, sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
why not?
We kind of need to revisit the things that we enjoyed.
Absolutely.
We forget. What is it that we want, that we had fun doing? What is it that we enjoyed?
Great point. What are some things, what are some signs, or what are some things that people should maybe make sure or try to eliminate from any aspect that we have? It could be career and business, it could be money, relationships. What are some of the telltale signs that it's like, ooh, this is not good for me,
Well, it could appear very hard. You sap your energy.
Yeah.
You just you're fighting the grain. You're not going with your personality style, with your temperament.
Your subterfuge, your entire being.
Yes.
You're putting all that aside to please someone else.
Yes.
That's a good one. Struggling, constant struggling, energy drainers, they're everywhere.
Like sometimes you can be, an individual could be exhausted from sitting at their desk all day because they don't want to sit behind that desk.
Right.
They could be resting and sitting down, yet that's exhausting because that doesn't work for them.
Yeah, and you talk to like a construction worker, they go, really? Are you tired? It's like, yeah, I really am. My brain is gone. I've developed something where, because I do sit at a desk a lot, and it's like I sit at a desk for a certain amount of time, and then I go do something physical, and then I come back.
You have to.
One, my back, but two, it's like your brain just fogs over.
But everybody's different. Some people can sit there for 8-10 hours, and wow, they can be discovering something or getting a lot of work done, and it's energizing. Other people, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, or they have limits. So I guess we're back to know yourself, How can you get to know yourself better? How can you get to know yourself better?
Well, when you look at your life, do you feel that you've gotten to that place now of understanding what works and what doesn't? Not 100%.
Yeah, I do. And I also realize that I keep thinking, my problem is I keep thinking, I should be doing more. And it's like, no, I've worked really hard to get to this place so I can do just what I'm doing, And then I go, and this is how crazy you get. Then I go, or how crazy I get. Then I go, but you should, you're not living up to your potential, and that's so you got to really know yourself and remember this is what I wanted. Sometimes you forget and go, I should be doing
right.
that.
You get
the grass
it.
is greener.
And it's also like all of a sudden you get what you want, and like. Really?
Stop and enjoy it. That's it. Oh my gosh! What a great lesson. Yeah, just make sure that whatever you do have, no matter how many pain points you have. I love that pain points. But that you enjoy it. You realize what you have, and take the good and enjoy that.
Right.
I remember one of my favorite bosses said. I was getting ready to quit because of some external thing, and he was, no, don't quit. Don't quit what's working for you. That's crazy. Get rid of the external thing.
That's a good boss.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So,
I think you make a really good point about your priorities. Mm-hmm. What are your priorities now? And as long as your time matches up with those priorities, you're doing okay.
I hear you. And yes, and accept the fact that your priorities change.
All the time. That's what I think is one of the trickiest things for people.
I agree.
I mean, including myself and anyone. When things shift for you, you're surprised.
Yes.
Wow, I would like to spend more time on that, less time on this. And you really need to adjust your work and your life as to what's most important to you.
And accept that, when you were 17, it was really important to, when you were 17, it was really important to make as much money as you were age. Remember that? Did you ever do that? As long as I make $17,000, I'm good. But now, when you got sort of the money under control, it's like change your priority if you want. I mean, maybe your work.
Well, for everybody is different. I mean, that's the key. Like, to understand that things change. What was important at 20 isn't as important at 30, which wasn't as important at 40. And as you go up
I like that. How often should we do an assessment? How often should we do a self-assessment?
Well, some people are just more intuitively aware.
They don't have to go through that.
Or they just don't allow themselves. I mean, it's kind of like some people, check their their pulse at the gym more than others. I mean,
true. Some people are always checking their Fitbit. Yeah, what am I doing now?
How many steps did I do today? I mean, and other people, it's like, I don't know. I feel like my
I got
legs
from
hurt,
here to there. It's okay. Yeah, I made it.
So whatever works for you.
I'm in the latter group.
But it's good, kind of, to keep track a little bit.
So there should. I think one thing, if you feel that what Lynn is calling the point of pain, or what I'm calling like that nagging, little nagging thing, maybe it is time for a self-assessment. It's like, what am I doing that's great, and what could be better? What could I get rid of?
What do I want to do more of?
Yeah,
and allow yourself to.
Yeah. What would be a good step to start spring cleaning, so to speak? One thing I can think of would be, what are deal breakers? What are things you have to have?
Right. As the needs and wants exercise.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Right.
And what do you want?
Right.
And the needs are like air and water. You got to have that.
Got it.
But the wants, you have to prioritize.
Yeah. Those are the need. Well, and also some people like. Deal breakers are like, I have to make X amount of money. That's the minimum because I have to survive.
That's your need.
Yeah,
that's your need point.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that point, or, I need to exercise 3 times a week, then it becomes, what do you, how active do you want to be? Like, you have to have your
You have to have your need. You got to get taken. You got to take care of those first.
Take care of them.
And then maybe, you tell me. Maybe if you make a list of wants, do you eventually pick the ones you want and go, okay, I need that.
Well, you know, within the wants, you're going to prioritize, and once again, the priorities are going to come back to your values.
Yeah. Okay, so
you know, so which I think is important, that once you understand your values, then you can match up your wants as to what's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or whatever.
And then, and at the bottom of the list, maybe you can say, you know what?
Let it go.
If it's number 25, maybe
and
I
if we're
don't
going to do
need it.
spring cleaning, I mean, we do need to understand, you know, spring is a certain amount of months, so you have to be, you know, I'd rather you take on 1 or 2 and get it done than take on 5 and not get it done.
Yeah.
Because strength does build upon strength.
That's true. And so, well, we know, I was going to say how often should we do it, but we know when we feel that little nudge, then, okay, something's going on.
Well, like in spring, you know, they call it spring cleaning.
That's the reason,
because people
right?
get that nudge to, like, perhaps clean out the closet or do something a little different.
Yeah, because spring is kind of start anew. You know, let's.
So it's the spring cleaning concept. Some people clean out 20 closets. Sometimes it's a drawer. Whatever it is for you, but to do something.
All right. So, all right, we're gonna do it.
Only if it's really value based. You know, a to-do list is only good as much of it. The things on the to-do list really matter.
That's true. And you know what? What is not a bad idea? Well, I love that you mentioned values. It's like, okay, when you're getting all your have-tos, your deal breakers, you gotta have that. But when you do your wants, it's like, are they matching up to your value? What values do they match up to? Maybe it's like, and then see, I keep thinking more lists we need. We need a list of values now. What are our
what's most
values?
important to you right now?
Absolutely,
and let yourself, you know, change because. It's not going to stay the same, and to expect it to stay the same is
boring. Yeah, I mean, that's what I see kind of happening with in the political world. Everybody wants everybody to be the same. That will be so boring. So
we need
we've gone a little crazy now,
we need a little bit of. Everyone needs a little bit of. Room to understand that things are different. If you, in your past, worked 10, 12 hours a day and that was important to you and you did it and you liked what you were doing, go for it, you know. Go for what works for you at certain points.
Definitely. Where does, I think I know where, maybe I should ask you, does it, but where does forgiveness come in? Because it's like, oh man, really? I wasted 10 years on this job and I hate this job. Where does that come in?
Well, I think that through everything, there's something to learn. And you grow.
Yeah, okay. What lesson?
You built up a muscle.
Okay, I like that.
Somewhere. Somehow.
Yeah.
And to try to understand it that way can be very helpful.
Yeah.
Because if you had a difficult boss, perhaps you're better at dealing with difficult people now.
Or if you become a boss, you know the exact things you don't want to do.
Right. So, I mean, usually, you know, there's something to be gleaned. And to be able to allow yourself to move ahead with that.
Good point, because I think most lessons are learned through adverse things. And because, again, if you're happy and content, you're just busy. Hopefully you're just busy enjoying what's going on.
Right, the moment, right.
But in order to learn and grow and stretch, you know, maybe you need that little pinprick there, that little just to say, oh, okay, this is not what I want.
And some people are better at it than others.
Yeah. How often can you do a do-over?
Meaning a do-over?
Do-over, it's like, oh, I thought this is what I wanted, but it's not working.
Well, I think, you know, if something's not working, you have to first, like if it's the dress doesn't fit, first perhaps get it tailored. And if that doesn't work, then maybe it's time for a new
diet.
one. You know,
go on a diet or get a bigger size.
Some people need to kind of let themselves do that do-over, but sometimes you have to play around with it a little bit to understand that.
And that's interesting because the other side of the coin, patience. Where does patience come
Oh,
in?
oh, that's a good one.
I know,
That's
patience.
Some people, yeah, that's a good one.
That's a hard one too. It's like, I think, all these questions that we're coming up with, I think it's really listen to yourself and trust your gut, trust your instincts. And I would say take a little while to think about it. Don't jump, go.
Right. It's that whole respond versus react.
Yes.
Even if it's 2 seconds.
Yes. Or learn the delay. Let me get back to you on that.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I know
learn the delay tactic.
Years ago, someone said they never answer anyone
immediately.
Never.
Yeah.
Even if they know. Yeah.
What they're going to say, yeah.
It's and I think a lot of people, when you look back and when you react to the situation, you made a mistake.
Yeah. So responding versus reacting, yeah. So that's where we can do the patience thing with that. Oh boy, we got lists going on. We have a lot of discipline, but I think it's worth it. I think in the end, you end up aligning with your values, hopefully. And really embracing as much as you can. I'm not saying that there won't be things that you don't like or want things that don't really settle with you, but to enjoy as much as you can of what's going on.
Sure, and if you do take some action to feel good about it,
right,
it's an accomplishment you took the action.
Yes.
And if you're watching this and something came to your mind once, twice, or 3 times, maybe it's time to
listen. That voice, she said, how do you know when to listen? When you hear the voice.
When you feel that.
Yeah. Yes, I think in retrospect, and I could give you a million ideas, but in retrospect, you know that you knew this was not working long before you actually took action.
But you have
just
to
ignored
get to a place of saying, I will address it.
Yeah, I will. And I don't know if I was going to say, does that take courage? But I think it takes awareness, and I think it takes a little bit of courage.
Yeah, I think courage.
Yeah.
I think courage is...
Yeah. Courage, and I think vulnerability, which is kind of weird because people think courage and vulnerability don't go together, but it's like Brene Brown has something on that. You can't have one without the other. You got to put yourself out there, and then,
but then you ask yourself, is it worth taking that chance versus not? Because not doing it could end up being riskier.
Good point. Well, we have just come up with all kinds of questions. A few answers, just a few, and our time is up. I can't believe that. Lynn, you got to come back. I know you will. I know you will.
It's always fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
This was amazing.
Thank you.
And I would say you can find Lynn at conveniently lynnberger.com, which is at the bottom of the screen, and see all the great things she helps her clients do. So thank you for being 3 times on the coaching show, and we'll see you again soon.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Take care.